I found out my daughter had stolen my identity the day I got denied for a mortgage, and at first I genuinely thought the bank had mixed me up with someone else. I'm 58 years old, I've worked the same engineering job for 3 decades, never missed a payment, never carried a balance longer than a month, so when the loan officer at Wells Fargo turned the screen toward me and said, "Sir, you have 7 maxed out credit cards and your utilization is over 90%, I actually laughed. I told him there was no way. He didn't laugh back. He printed the report from Equifax and every account listed my name, my social security number, and different mailing addresses I had never lived at. The balances weren't small either, $14,200, $9,870, $17,400 until the total sat just under $92,000. My hands started shaking because that wasn't just numbers on a page, that was my retirement, the lake cabin I'd been saving for, the quiet years I'd promised myself after working non-stop since I was 25. When I got home, I pulled every document I could find and called each bank one by one, and that's when the detail that broke me surfaced. Every account had the same contact phone number on file. My daughter's. For 3 years she had been telling me she was overwhelmed after grad school, that rent was crushing her, that credit card interest was eating her alive, and every month I sent her $1,200 to help her get ahead. I skipped 2 vacations, postponed replacing my truck, even delayed my retirement contributions because I believed I was helping her dig out of a hole. She wasn't digging out. She was digging deeper, with my name. Statements showed charges for luxury boutiques, first-class flights, an all-inclusive resort in Tulum, VIP music festival packages, furniture deliveries to an apartment I'd never seen. The most painful part wasn't even the money, it was realizing the planning involved. She had my social security card from when I helped her fill out college forms years ago. She knew my date of birth, my employment history, everything. This wasn't impulse. This was strategy. I drove to her apartment that night, credit report in my hand, and when she opened the door she didn't look scared, she looked annoyed. I asked her straight, "Why is your phone number on 7 credit cards in my name?" She crossed her arms and said it wasn't a big deal, that she was managing it, that I would never have noticed if I hadn't tried to buy a cabin. And then she said the sentence that still echoes in my head, "You were going to leave it to me anyway." In that moment something shifted inside me. I realized she didn't see me as her father, she saw me as an account. I didn't yell. I didn't threaten. I went home and filed a report for identity theft and fraud with the local police department, then froze my credit with Experian and TransUnion. When detectives called her, she exploded my phone with messages saying I was ruining her future, that families don't involve the law, that I could just claim bankruptcy. But bankruptcy would have destroyed the last chapter of my life for a crime I didn't commit. The investigation took months, subpoenas, bank statements, IP logs tied to her laptop, and eventually the district attorney filed multiple felony counts. Sitting in court across from your own child is something no parent imagines when they're teaching them to ride a bike. She pled down to probation, mandatory financial counseling, and a court-ordered restitution plan. The judge made it clear, repayment would come before travel, before luxury, before anything else. Her passport was flagged until restitution was underway, and the same lifestyle she flaunted online vanished overnight. 3 years later, $1,350 transfers into my account automatically every month. It doesn't erase what happened. It doesn't magically restore trust. But it does rebuild what was taken, piece by piece. I bought a smaller lake cabin than I originally planned, nothing extravagant, just quiet water and a dock where I can sit in the evenings. She still texts on holidays. Sometimes it's an apology, sometimes it's casual, like nothing happened. I don't reply, not out of hatred but out of boundaries I should have had earlier. Because I learned something expensive, forgiveness and access are 2 different things. Love doesn't mean unlimited permission. And sometimes the hardest lesson a parent has to teach is that even family is accountable when they decide your future belongs to them.